Welcome back. You're all tuned in to Salam Media, and this is Salam Media Highlights with myself, Salai Loma Quidir. The time is 19 minutes before 3, and in a bit, we'll be looking at a very, very important and very controversial topic. This past week, the University of Cape Town's Faculty of Health Sciences hosted a screening of Al Shifa Hospital. We all know of Al Shifa Hospital, the horrors that the Israeli illegitimate government and genocidal government inflicted on Al Shifa Hospital. We all know about it. We all read about it. We've all seen some of the footage online. It was called The Crimes They Tried to Bury, and it's a documentary detailing the brutal Israeli attacks on Gaza's Al Shifa hospital. The screening, supported by humanitarian organizations like Gift of the Givers and the Desmond Tutu Foundation, was meant to shed light on the war crimes unfolding in Gaza. However, what followed, get this, was an apology from the Dean of Faculty, Mr. Lionel Green Thompson, distancing the institution from the event. As you would have guessed, this has sparked outrage, including a scathing response from Palestinian South African journalist Aziz Yunus, whose family has been among the thousands slaughtered in Gaza. In his open letter to the dean, he called out the moral failures of UCT's leadership, questioning their complicity in sanitizing genocide for political convenience. Today, we unpack this controversy with Ayesha Baccus. She's a member of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign's Planning Committee out in Cape Town, and we'll be discussing the ongoing battle for academic institutions specifically to take a stand, the role that universities in South Africa and maybe across the world play in shaping narratives, and whether UCT has once again bent under pressure from pro-Israeli lobbyists. Ayesha, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Sure. I think first and foremost, we can start with your brief reaction to the dean's apology. How do you interpret his statement, and what do you believe motivated him ultimately?
So I believe the apology from the dean was an attempt to address the backlash from certain groups, but also it reflects a deeper fear of backlash from the influential external bodies. It's quite disheartening because it seems to prioritize preserving relationships with donors or political figures over standing firm on the values of justice, academic freedom, and the responsibility to amplify marginalized voices. But the motivation seems tied to maintaining a particular image of neutrality, which is ultimately a disservice to the pursuit of truth and human rights.
Hmm. Let's speak a bit on UCT's stance on this genocide in Palestine. Traditionally and historically, what has been the university's views? Have they came out strong condemning the genocide, or have they maintained neutrality, or a certain support of Israel, like we're seeing right now?
So I think UCT is in a much more difficult position than other universities in Cape Town. I'm particularly from the PSC UWC. And while it's been easier for us, the academics at UCT are facing a harder time because of the donors at UCT.
Mm, mm, mm. And I want to touch now, I think, on something which is very, very important. The fact that there might be, I think you mentioned this in the beginning of the interview, the external pressure, whether from donors, political figures, or pro-Israeli lobby groups, that influence this response from UCT's leadership. From an activism point of view, how do you counter this when it's seemingly really influential people, when it's people that are giving a whole lot of money to the university and are swaying the direction that the university takes when it comes to the discourse around Palestine?
I think it's crucial for us to continue pressing for accountability, right? This could involve further engagement with UCT leadership, seeking a public retraction of that apology, or at the very least, an acknowledgement of the harm done by silencing pro-Palestinian discourse. I think it's also important to build solidarity within the academic community so that we can ensure that these things are not swept under the rug and the universities stand firm in their commitment. I know from being at the PSC UWC but we are looking to connect to other universities so we can build on our solidarity together and take a firmer stand.
Mm. Is that what you're mentioning now? Part of what will make up the next steps from you guys' point of view, or will there
Yeah.
be other and further engagements with UCT leadership, as you mentioned, to make sure that they retract and reconsider their position when it comes to Palestine?
Yeah, so I mean, we will continue. We will continue to march forward and to request that they reconsider and they retract. I think there's a lot of pressure. At the screening itself, we had healthcare workers for Palestine, which is obviously the doctors and healthcare workers in South Africa. There were many professors who attended. We've got the Tutu Foundation over there. We've got South African Jews for a Free Palestine and Gift of the Givers. So between those organizations, we are trying to ensure that there is accountability and that we are not whitewashing a genocide.
No, definitely. And just lastly, before I let you go, Aisha, there's a ceasefire right now in Gaza, and whether or not it will hold, it's a conversation for another day. But how important is it right now, to continue having, such screenings like the ones that you guys had at UCT, to continue having conversations and demonstrations, to raise awareness on Palestine and the atrocities that the Israeli genocidal government is still committing in that part of the world, when it almost feels like this is a move on moment. You are sold this narrative that the people in Gaza are now rebuilding, it's all kumbaya and everything, people essentially just need to move on with their lives. How important is it to become more aggressive now more than ever when the conversation is seemingly dying down?
So I think that this is the critical moment. This is the time of monsters. And as South Africans, we actually have to not get fatigued right now. We need to not be blinded by the ceasefire. If you look at what's happening in the West Bank, it's moved over from Gaza to the West Bank. The settlements are expanding currently. And so it's really important for us to continue this conversation, continue to boycott, continue to call for sanctions. I'm sure you've heard about the Hague Group, which is the 9 countries that are standing for sanctions against Israel. And I think the most important thing for us to do is to ensure we're not buying those products. Yes, there are lovers of Coke in this world, but the sacrifice needs to be there for the Palestinian people. And then to also attend these events. We want to see more people come out in numbers. If you've missed the screening of it, it is available on Al Jazeera 360. You can download the app. That's one of many documentaries that you can view and share. Please ensure that you're sharing and reposting the stuff. You can follow the Gift of the Givers page, Healthcare Workers for Palestine, SA Jews for a Free Palestine, and obviously the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. So from my side, from the PSC, we share our events in advance. So please come and look at our page every couple of days, see what's happening. We will continue the fight.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're going to do on that note. Aisha, thank you so much for giving us your time. And we'll definitely be following closely to what's happening out in Cape Town with the fight that I think you guys will strongly be having with the University of Cape Town. But we're going to leave it there for now. Really
Thank you
appreciate it.
so much. Thank you.
There you have.
Bye.
Bye. Highlights on a very, very important topic there that we had with Ayesha. And yeah, I think UCT, one of the institutions that strongly need to be put in their place. And we'll be following that story quite closely. This has been another edition of Salam Media Highlights with myself, Salalo Makwidiri. You're going to leave it here for now. Shap, shap.